Right, hello and welcome to the Liberian TV Network. Today is January 9, 2024, and we are right here at the Ministry of Information Culture and Tourism. We are on the Cooper Program Ministry of Labor. It's about the price of critical national issue. Keep process as we bring you details information in regards to what is happening in Liberia.
Mr. Acting Minister, Deputy and Assistant Ministers, members of the press, and other distinguished personalities here. Again, let me wish you a happy new year, and we hope that this year, for all of us, will be better than last year. And let me say that it is important for those of us who are working for or working with the president to, on a regular basis, show up here to give some information to the public. Because our society is such that if you do not have the right information to be given by the rightful people, the tendencies that misinformation will go out, wrongful information will get in the hands of others, to try to picture the good works of the government or other agencies of government very differently. So we hope this year we will try to make our presence here with the Ministry of Information regular, and at least to be able to set some records straight. I know I was here, we were here a couple of, maybe 2-3 months ago, and we hope to be here on a regular basis in collaboration with the Ministry of Information. But let me say that the year 2024 for us at the Ministry of Labor, that was a new form of education for us. But as an administrator, I think we made some good, we made adjustments within a short period. And you will see that from the results, some of the results we want to give you in terms of what we did over the past couple of months. You know, the core function of the ministry basically is to intervene in labor-related matters, seek employment opportunities for Liberians, and make sure that there are control in our labor sector. We make intervention when there are unfair labor practices against workers in the private sector, and we investigate and make determination of those cases. And it's important that we give you some information in those areas of our intervention. We also contribute significantly to the revenue envelope of the country. And for our first year, there were interesting results which we thought is important to share with the public. So if I were to start, let's talk just firstly about about our alien registration department, function of the ministry. The alien registration department is responsible to issue our work permit to aliens or foreigners that work within our economy. When you say foreigner, that includes non-Africans, that also include other Africans from other African countries, that also includes our West African brothers. So it's just a grouping of those. You may call them aliens, and then we have to give them permission to work in our country. From our records, for the alien department for the course of 2023, we recorded very, very interesting statistics. For example, for our regular work permit, we issue out 9,468 regular work permits. For our gratis work permit, we issue out 948. For ECOWAS work permit, we issue out 558. So the total that we received, that were processed, was 10,974. Of the 10,974, the total of 857 applicants were denied, either because the job that they applied for were jobs that could be done by Liberians, or that could be occupied by Liberians. Because of that, we would deny them those a right to work in Liberia. And in terms of just the process, we'll give you a little bit breakdown on the process. In terms of the different categories. For example, during the course of a year, there are people that we met already working in Liberia. So for them, that was a matter of renewal. There were not new work permits were given to them. So for renewal that we did during the course of 2024, we did a total renewal of 7,633. That was something like 75% of the work permit that we issued during the course of a year. So 75% represented renewal of people who are already here and the work permit had expired and we had to issue new ones. New work permit that we issued to people who came during the course of our administration was 2,484. That's only 15% of the work permit that we issued during 2024 that were new, but we just represented 15%. That gave you a total of 10,117. Both the renewal and the new work permit, that tallied up to the 100% that we did during the course of the year. And sometimes it's good to give you a little more detail too. For example, for mail that we issue work permit during the year, in the 2024, was 8,802. That represented 87% of the total work permit that we issued. For female, that was 1,315. That constituted 13% of the work permit we issued. So, again, in terms of people who are coming here to work, not too many women that come. That's what you see from this. That gave you a total of 100%. Now, it's good to say how many of these represented non-African and those that represent Africans. For non-Africans, aliens that we issue work permit to, that was a total of 6,980. That was like 69% of the work permit we issued. For non-ECOWAS African aliens that came to work in Liberia, we issued 2,699. That was like 27% of the work permit that we issue out to non-ECOWAS African. I mean, from South Africa, Zambia, because we're doing mining here now. So most of these guys will come from South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and they work in Liberia. That was a total of 27% of the work permit we issued. For ECOWAS members, for Guinea, Ivory Coast, and our ECOWAS member states, that was a total of 438. That constituted 4% of the work permit we issued. If you check that, we give you the same 10,000, which was 10,170, 100% of the work permit we issued. Now, we'd like to see during the period under review, the registration and the reorganization recorded a total of US $9 million, 9,013,200 US dollars. That was our contribution to the national budget, or the envelope, during the course of of 2024 for basically the maybe 10 to 11 months. And we like to give you just on a quarterly basis to have an idea. From January to March, we did 1.8. From April to June, we did 2.2. From July to September, we did 2.6 million. From October to December, we did 2.3 million. That, of course, that figure that gives you a total of 9,013,200 in US dollars that we collected and as a contribution to our revenue envelope. Let me also say briefly, you may have followed some of the things we did. I will speak to you briefly in terms of our interventions in labor disputes and things. I will come to the statistics. But during the course of the year, you must have followed us that we did some tours of concession areas. There were interventions that we made during those tours. During the tour, we did some, for example, everywhere that we went, we would meet with the workers first before meeting with the management. And there was a time for lecture, time of education. We spoke to the workers in terms of their rights. If you work on a national holiday, how are you supposed to be paid overtime? What would be the rate of the overtime? Some people did not know. We brought that up. If you work if you did overtime, maybe 2-3 hours overtime, is the rate different from your regular rate? We have to give them that education. We did that from Beer Mountain, Western Cluster, Asada Meta, and Firestone. And I'll give you an example. Just from the education we did, for example, in AFCON, they determined that they were not being paid their overtime properly. They worked during their resting period and they were not paid. So just about 3 weeks ago, we intervened, and a total of 900 Liberian workers received a total of 270,000 US in additional payment because there were payments that they were supposed to receive based on the hours of the work, and they did not receive it. We did that. We've done that same intervention in Buchanan. We've done that same intervention in the workers that are working with CRSG, went to Loboatua. We've done that and they made additional payment. So the tour was very useful, and it was an eye opener for our Liberian workers. And in Firestone, you remember, we also toured Firestone facility. We met with the workers. There are a couple of interesting things that we discovered. For example, we went to one of the divisions where there was a school on in an open air, and they said the students were required to pay tuition. We have to order them to close it because that was not the school. Okay? And the situation in Firestone is such that you have Firestone now that have subcontracted the division to Liberian subcontractors, and the subcontractors are the ones who took over those who are doing the tapping in those divisions, and they pay them. But the facilities that Firestone should have that were providing for the workers, their dependents, they are now relying on providing those services. Now